Growing up without a dad was hard. But you stepped up, you saved my life.
I think you should buy Kylo out and rebrand.
We need to take over that house.
Why can't you just accept the fact that this is over?
Because I love you. That's why.
I would like to work with you.
How does your husband feel about that?
You remember when I told you that I had an opportunity to find out about my father?
Yeah.
Well, Jeffrey found out that info. You all really weren't gonna tell me.
Your father is volatile and unpredictable. That's why we were determined to keep you from reaching out to him.
I promise you we can fix this as a family.
We are not a family! I've been wrong about him my whole life. Because they lie.
Will, we made that choice out of love.
Yeah, what's going on, fam? It's your man VACAY-J, and yes, I'm back with another video. Yes, we have finally come down to the season finale of Bel-Air. This is episode 10, the recap. And yes, this one was, man, intense, for lack of a better word. I mean, when you talk about performances, this right here was some serious performances. And yes, that's right, you see him. Marlon Wayne is playing Lou. Listen, before we get into this, definitely check out all my episode recaps. That's right, from 1 to now 10. We are at episode 10, and it has been one incredible season, first season for Bel-Air. So let's break down episode 10 of Bel-Air. So the name of this episode is Where To, and the description reads, Will's father shows up and tells the truth about where he's been, exposing a long-buried secret. All right, so now, where are we? Yes, we are at Aunt Viv's display, fellowship gallery. I mean, she is looking great. I mean, everybody's congratulating her. She has all her finest work on display. And of course, Uncle Phil, as he said, he's gonna be there to support. So yeah, Will is looking at all the art and he sees a piece that definitely depicts him with a crown on it. And yeah, it's definitely looking like a great piece, right? So he's admiring it and everything. And of course, Uncle Phil comes over and he says, yeah, this is a great depiction of you, you know, strong and, you know, everything, and really is complimenting Will on who he is and who he's becoming as a young man. And yeah, you know, Will definitely is giving him his props. I mean, the way Will feels is like, hey, you know, not having a father was rough, but Uncle Phil was there, stepped up for him, and absolutely he's appreciative of that. So yeah, they give each other a pound, nothing but brotherly love. And yeah, you know, Uncle Phil's like a dad to him, and he definitely appreciates that, right? And Will and Uncle Phil looks at Aunt Viv and says, funny what you can do when you take someone out of West Philly, right? How they can shine and just flourish, right? And of course, he is loving his wife, admiring Aunt Viv for doing what she's doing. And yes, she's looking like the queen that she is. Look at Aunt Viv, looking real good, you know? And absolutely, she has her friend there and her friends there to support, saying that, yeah, this is just an amazing time. This is way better than I could ever think. And yes, Aunt Viv is living like her best life right now. And then we got this guy here, Hubert Bradley, comes over, and yeah, Aunt Viv knows him and he's definitely congratulating her and he's very proud of her, and everybody's proud of Aunt Viv for doing her thing and really just stepping up, coming out after all these years and really just displaying her work, you know? And it's a great thing. You know, we've been rooting for Aunt Viv to do her thing, and there she's finally making it happen. So cheers to Aunt Viv in this last episode of season 1. Now we have Hillary and we have Ivy, and Ivy's just talking about how great this event is and how, you know, wonderful it is. And then she mentions how, yeah, you know, I know what's going on with you and Kylo and you getting out of that deal. And she's like, please, I don't even want to talk about it right now, you know. So, and Aunt Viv comes over and says, well, talk about what? You know, she's snooping in, ear hustling. And of course, Hillary's like, yeah, of course. I don't want nobody to know about my love life, Ma. Come on, boundaries. And guess who shows up? Yeah, your boy Jazz shows up. You know what I mean? Looking like a young Tupac, right? So young Tupac's talking or whatever. He's like, oh, y'all good with this whole soiree thing? And she's like, yeah, of course. It's all good. We, yeah. So, they got that good vibe going on. But she went ahead and wanted to introduce Jazz to Ivy. She's like, Ivy, this is Will's friend, right? Didn't say that's her man. So Ivy's looking at him and he's like, oh, Ivy, you're not going to poison me, are you, right? A tiny flirt there, a tiny flirt. And she's like, hey, you never know. You know what I'm saying? So, Hillary introduced him as Will's friend. And yeah, they start to lock hands or whatever. And But Hillary, it is what it is. She looking at her all stank with her stank face like, don't you be rolling up on my man. But hey, you didn't introduce him as your man. So yeah, we see your boy Carlton, and he's looking at Will's painting, a painting that Aunt Viv did of Will. So Ashley comes over and she's like, are you jealous? And he's like, nah, it's a great, painting. What does it mean? And Ashley's like, yeah, just somebody to watch the throne a little better, a little closer, right? So the Alpha Bros show up to definitely show support to Phil, even though he dropped out of the race. It's all good. So Will sees Lisa, and Lisa's there. She's looking good and everything. And she's like, listen, I'm here for Aunt Viv, and I'm not here for you, da-da-da. And he's like, yo, come on, like, she said, yeah, you had your chance to tell me the truth, and you basically lied and didn't tell me anything. And Will's just like, yo, I couldn't do it because, Uncle Phil, it is what it is, right? Like, I couldn't do it. Like, again, I tried to explain that to you, but it is what it is. But she's like, you know what? You just don't get it. You just not getting it. And yeah, she definitely is feeling Will, right? So she walks away. And of course, Jazz, the all-wise Jazz, is like, hey, man, you know what? You need to just tell her how you feel, man. And listen, if you get curved, you get curved. I get curved all the time. So then he leaves because he wants some scallops, right? He never has scallops, right? So, yeah, Will goes back to Lisa and says, hey, can we talk? Can we talk? And she's like, listen, we can't do this right now. It's like, what are you not getting? He's like, why you can't just let me go? He's like, because I love you. Yeah, Will says the L word. He says, I love you. And yeah, I just have to tell you how I feel. Of course, she's like, you just saying that to get me back. He's like, no, I'm saying it because I really do love you. And I want you to feel how I feel. You know what I'm saying? I want you to feel what I'm saying, And she, of course, getting a little teary-eyed and everything because she loves him too. And she's about to say it back to Will, but she's like, listen, we can't do this right now. We can't do this right here, right now. And yeah, she has that moment. And he's like, He's waiting for her to say it back. But she just walks away, right? She just walks away. So, Will definitely, this vibe, you can't shake this whole connection between them. Now, the next morning, guess who we see? Yeah, we see Jazz and Hillary. Yeah, they had a good time. Obviously, they went to that 5-star villa. And yeah, she's like, don't get used to it because I'm going to have to explain this high-priced bill and everything. And yeah, they just really enjoying each other. This was inevitable to happen. So she looks at her phone and she gets excited. And she's like, yeah, I'm a genius. And he's like, what's going on? He's like, yeah, I just, from that event and having Ivy there, our followers went up. And he's like, yeah, this person's following us. And Jazz is like, am I supposed to know who they are? So she's really excited because she's like, yeah, I put all this together and this is going to help Ivy and everything else like that. So Jazz is just like, yo, I want you to not look at her as like a meal ticket. Look at her as a partner. You guys can do some great things together. So she gets a call from Will and she hangs up on him. She says, sorry, cuz. But he gets a call from Will and he's like, oh, that's Will. Let me answer it. So he answered it. And Will is like, yo, can you put me on the phone? Can you put Hillary on the phone so I can talk to her? And he's like, what are you talking about? Why would I be with Hillary? Yeah, I saw y'all last night. Come on. So Jazz is like, listen, he knows, so you might as well talk to him. So Hillary's like, listen, if you say anything, and Will's like, nah, I'm not going to say a word. Listen, I need your help. I might have a chance to talk to Lisa. I need your advice. I need your womanly advice on what to say to her and how to say it or whatever. So she's like, all right, what's up, cuz? And yeah, he's excited because he may have this opportunity to possibly get back in good graces with Lisa. So now we got your boy Uncle Phil. He rolls to Carlton and says, hey, you know, I got some VIP tickets to go to the races and, you know, the practice of the race, and we could possibly get on the track as well. So, you know, Carlton, he loves racing, the Grand Prix racing and all of that. So he's excited about that. He's like, what about Will? He's like, nah, it could just be me and you. So he's real excited now because, yeah, him and his pops is going to definitely get it in. It's been some QT, quality time. So Will is downstairs making some cheese, eggs, and everything else like that. And yeah, your girl Ashley's like, yeah, listen, Jeffrey's not coming back. I went to his room. All his clothes are gone. It's like, what? That's why we don't have any food in the house? That explains it. Like, yeah, what's going on? And Will's like, I think I know what it is. Remember I told you I was trying to, you know, pursue and finding my dad and everything? And Carlton's like, yeah. Will is like, well, I did that. I asked Jeffrey to get some information. And I don't think Uncle Phil liked that too much. I think Uncle Phil got upset. And yeah, he may have fired Jeffrey. You know, he may have fired Jeffrey. And Ashley, she's on it. She's just like, yeah, Jeffrey ain't coming back no time soon because he's gone. Like, everything's gone. His clothes are gone. It's not looking good as far as Jeffrey being there. And they're like, dang, what happened? They don't really know what's going on. They don't really know the details, but they will find out the details. So now we see Aunt Viv, and she is at your boy Reed's gallery. And we see her, you know, artwork up and everything. And he's like, oh, I'm surprised to see you. She's like, yeah, things kind of, you know, we kind of lost communication since San Diego and my husband coming through. And I just wanted to thank you, you know, because of you, I got the fellowship and I really want to continue to work with you. And I'm like, oh, shoot, what is that about? Right. And he is really on some like, well, what does your husband have to say about that? Because we know that Phil doesn't really feel Reed like that. So she's just like, yeah, me and Phil, you know, we had our discussions, but he's in full support of what I'm doing. And she's just going on about Reed's connections and how he has an eye for talent, and it would be great for them to work together. So we'll see what happens. So Will tries to give Lisa a call, and it goes straight to voicemail. And he's like, hey, listen, I would love for us to get, you know, to talk, sit down and talk. And yeah, you know, it would be great. Can you just call me back? Just call me back, right? So he's like, man, she's really not going to talk to me. Like, that's how he feels. He's about to go to basketball practice. And so he gets a text from Lisa. And she's like, listen, if you want to talk, let's meet at 3 p.m. at the Amp Coffee Shop. So he's excited about that. He's like, see you there, right? So, you know, she's going to give him one last opportunity to really talk it out. And yeah, they need to continue that conversation that they had. So he kind of feels good about that. So we'll see what happens. So he leaves to go, you know, somewhere. And yeah, a car rolls in to the Bel-Air Estates. The doorbell rings. Phil answers. And who is it? Yeah, it's Lou. And your boy, Uncle Phil, looks surprised. And yes, congratulations to all of you that said it will be an unknown character. Yes, Marlon Wayans is playing Lou, which is Will's dad. Of course, Carlton was getting ready to go to the races, and he sees what's going on, and he sees Lou downstairs talking to his dad, Uncle Phil. So they're talking, they go into the office, and, you know, of course, Uncle Phil's like, what are you doing here? He's like, well, your boy Jeffrey, you know, reached out to me saying that, you know, my son needs me. So, you know, I've been here and there and struggling and trying to make ends meet since I got out, you know, and yeah, just trying to make things happen. But now I'm here. I'm here to see my son. And Uncle Phil's like, I don't think that's a good idea. You know, who knows, like, have you really changed and everything? And he's like, listen, man, I knew you would kind of feel like that. And of course, he throws Uncle Phil's money in his face. So he's like, listen, man, Uncle Phil's like, listen, we're going to talk, and then we're going to see if Will is going to be able to talk with you. We'll let you know what's going on. And yeah, I mean, Lou, he's down on his luck. He said he had to borrow money from his pastor to get a plane ticket. So Lou's like, what you want me to do? He's like, listen, you waited 13 years. You can wait a little bit longer. So Uncle Phil goes to talk with Aunt Viv, and he's like, yeah, why is he back now? What's going on? Because she has no idea that Jeffrey got the information to Will, right? And Uncle Phil, man, he does a pretty good job as a lawyer keeping all these things under wraps, and he keeps lying and really being like real, like holding back information, you know? So she's trying to figure it out, but he knows all the answers, but he's not telling her. She's like, yeah, what happened to Jeffrey and everything? And they're just talking about whether or not Will is going to be able to talk to Lou. So with all that being said, your boy Carlton is on the scene. He's like, listen, I need to find out what's going on. I'm going to look for that paperwork, you know, because Will told him that he gave the paperwork to Uncle Phil. So he looks and he finds the paperwork that Jeffrey gave Will, and he opens it up and he reads everything in there. So Carlton goes to talk to Will because Carlton now knows exactly what's going on with his father. He's like, listen, I don't know if I'm supposed to tell you this, but your father was here when you left, when you were away. And yeah, I found that paperwork that Jeffrey got. And he's like, listen, man, I don't even want to look at that paperwork. I told Uncle Phil I don't want to look at it. I don't want to do this. And, you know, Carlton's like, listen, I don't think you have a choice at this point. You know, your father is in town. You need to read this because all the answers you want, all the answers you need are in this packet, right? So Carlton is being a good dude here. I mean, we're seeing a different side of Carlton, a caring side, because he knows how this is going to really affect Will, and he cares for Will. So Will reads it. And yeah, of course, Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv, they're still talking about whether Will should talk to Lou. Will comes in there and he's like, yeah, I know y'all talking about me. So what's going on? You know, I already know you don't need to hide anymore. You don't need to hold back information. I know that my father was in jail. Y'all was just going to hold this back from me. You know, all this time I was thinking he left my life. He just left all of us, but he was locked up and he didn't get his second chance. Like, you know, he went through this and went through that. I read everything that was in that packet, and he didn't get the same opportunity to change his life the way I did. And Aunt Viv was just like, listen, you know, it's up to you whether you want to talk to him or not, you know, but we feel that, hey, you know, it's not a good idea because Lou can be volatile, unpredictable, and we don't think it's a good idea, but it's totally up to you. And then like, yeah, you know, I know Jeffrey is not here because of all this. And she's like, what? It was like, well, I fired him. And Aunt Viv is like, what? You fired him? Why did you fire him? He's like, well, I thought that was best. He's like, I didn't think so. You know, not on my watch. I didn't think it was the best decision for you to fire him. So Will sits down and he's just like upset about the whole thing, confused about everything. But he's finding out the truth that, yeah, all this time, Uncle Phil, Aunt Viv, and his own mama was lying and keeping the lie going, right? Just to protect him, trying to protect him by lying to him, which is definitely not a good thing because now, yeah, the truth is being revealed. So Aunt Viv was like, listen, if you want to talk to him, it's up to you. So, of course, Will is going to call his mother, right? Call mama to find out what's going on. He's like, listen, why did you lie to me and say that he left when he was locked up? Yeah, he's here. Like, my dad is here. She's like, he's there? What did he say? He's like, I don't know. I didn't get a chance to talk to him. And, of course, Vi's just like, oh, man. Like, yeah, the truth is coming out, Vi. You can't lie anymore. She's like, why did you lie to me? Why did you lie to me all these years? And she's like, listen, we told you this because we thought it was best for you. You know, you were 4 years old, and we thought it was best for you not to know the truth, you know, because, yeah, finding out that your father was locked up, you know, how could that affect you as a 4-year-old, you know? So they had good intentions, but lying to him and continue to lie to him, he's like, listen, I'm not 4 anymore. I'm 17 now. And y'all could have told me this a while ago, right? So he gets off the phone with his mom. And he goes inside and he sees, you know, the fam. And he's like, listen, I want to talk to him. I want to talk to my dad. I want to talk to Lou to find out who he is and what's going on. Right. So now we had a photo shoot with Ivy. Right. Ivy, again, she has millions of followers. She's doing her thing and she's doing a photo shoot. She's looking good or whatever. It's all good. Hillary's there. She's looking on and everything. And yeah, it's a pretty big spread. I mean, it's a pretty big deal. So, Ivy comes over to talk to Hillary. She's like, all right, how did I do? And she's like, oh, you're beautiful, da, da, da. And she's like, listen, if I wanted somebody to kiss my ass, I would just ask them. So Hillary goes in and says, hey, definitely like the dress is nice, but you're hiding your shoes. And like, what's the story behind the dress? What's the story behind you? Like, maybe you need to do like a Michelle Obama twirl or whatever, just kind of like spice it up. Right. And she's like, okay, that's a good idea. So Hillary goes on to say, you know what? You need to buy out Kylo so you can buy the house and everything. And Ivy's like, oh, so if I buy everything out, then that basically means I own the content. And yeah, you get out of your whole, $50,000 deal thing. She's like, yeah, you need to go ahead and buy that out and I can get out of my deal and then we can do business. Like we could be partners. So she's like, I like that idea. And Hillary is excited about it because now she doesn't have to pay Kylo $50,000 if that happens. Ivy's going to talk to her accountant. So now back at the house, we see Lou talking to Aunt Viv. And Aunt Viv, she let that West Philly out, boy. And she's like, listen, when you talk to him, I want you to be the father of the year and let him know you missed him every day. Like she's just going in on him. Like, listen, you need to be at your very best behavior. And he's looking at her like, well, dang, like, okay. She's all in his face. Like, you better make sure he feels good about this whole meeting or I'm going to have to throw you out myself, throw you out my house myself. So Lou is like, yeah, I see you still got that West Philly in you, right? And she smiles, she smirks and she's like, yeah, you better never forget it. You better never forget. Yeah, that West Philly will come out, Lou, if you act up. So be on your best behavior. So Will comes in and he sees Lou for the very first time, as a 17-year-old. And he's like, what's going on? What's up, Will? And yeah, they're just standing there looking at each other. And Will's like, listen, I want to talk to him alone. Of course, Uncle Phil, he's being protective. He's like, I don't think that's a good idea. But Aunt Viv is like, yeah, we'll let them have their private time. We'll be in the office, Will, if you need us. So they standing there looking at each other and everything, for the very first time after many, many years, 13 years, right? So he just comes straight out. He's like, yo, all this time, 13 years, you haven't contacted me. What do you have to say for yourself? And Lou was just standing there on some like, I was locked up and I didn't want you to see all that. That's not a good look. It's not a good look for you to see me all locked up. And I didn't feel good about, contacting you and everything else like that. So yeah, he's explaining to him how his father was locked up and he saw his father, Lou saw his own father, and it really messed him up. So Will is just like, yo, you still could have reached out. You still could have done something. Like, you've been out all this time. Why didn't you reach out? And yeah, Lou goes into how, he's working from check to check and he was trying to get his bearings and, being a felon and everything. It's hard for him to really get on his feet. So he said that, yeah, he was thinking about him every day. And Will is just like, yo, that's BS. Come on, man. Tell the truth. So yeah, Lou is just really like trying to just be real with him about why he didn't reach out, because he didn't want him to see him in that state. But now he's here. Now he's here trying to reconcile with him, just trying to get to know him. And yeah, he sheds a tear, man. I mean, Marlon does his thing, man, playing Lou. I got to give it to Marlon. He does do his thing playing Lou. Meanwhile, we got Lisa and she's at the shop, the coffee shop, waiting on Will. Man, I mean, like, she has no idea what's going on, that Will's father came and that they're talking. She's looking at the text message to see, if he's going to be there, if he's going to show up. And yeah, of course, he doesn't show up. She is, of course, getting upset. She came because she does love Will, man. She has strong feelings for this boy, man. But she's upset because he basically stood her up, but she doesn't know why. She has no idea of what's going on. So she gets mad and she leaves. So now back at the house, we see Lou, we see Will, and they reminiscing. And Will is talking about how he remembers that he was 3 years old and, Lou took him to a basketball game to play, the Sixers. And he was like, yeah, your little butt was wandering around while I was trying to get an autograph from Iverson. And yeah, your mom would have killed me, man. Your mom would have killed me. He said, yeah, it didn't matter anyway. She was on me because we came back late. So Will remembered all of that, just that little bit when he was 3 years old. And yeah, Lou keeps going in. He's like, yeah, your mama, yeah, she was always on me about, making money because Phil started making money. So she was on me about making money. And he was like, really? Like, you just gonna put this on mom? He's like, you act like your mother ain't do nothing wrong. Like, she pushed me. Like, she was on my back 24/7 to make money, right? And then Lou just starts going in and yelling. He's like, yeah, she kept pushing me and this, that, and the third, and your mama this and your mama that. Of course, Will gets up and is like, yo, man, watch how you talking about my mom. Like, you don't be talking about my mom like that. He's like, listen, boy, you better show me some respect. You know what I'm saying? I came here to make things right with you, but your mama this and your mama that. And of course, man, they about to get into it. You know, Will don't play about his mom, right? And they about to get physical. Of course, Uncle Phil runs in between them to keep them from fighting each other. He's like, you better not put your hands on that boy. You better not put your hands on it. Uncle Phil looked like he about to throw blows himself, right? So Will is like, listen, man, you know what I'm saying? You crazy, man. You telling me this and you telling me that. He's like, yo, me and your mama was the worst thing to get together and everything. And now Lou is just messing up. And of course, Will ain't trying to hear all that, man. Like, he's saying all the wrong things to Will. If he came there to try to make it right, why you talking all that crap? Why you talking all that mess? So Will is like, you know what, man? I don't even need you, man. Like, seriously, you wouldn't have came here if I didn't reach out to Jeffrey, right? You wouldn't have came. You wouldn't have came either way. But because I reached out to Jeffrey and Jeffrey reached out to you, like, now you come. He's like, I don't even need you, man. I don't need you in my life. So you could take your bum ass and get out. Yo, it got real intense, fam. I was feeling it like, yo, Will, crazy, man. He's like, yo, I don't need you in my life no more. I mean, look at his face. Like, he gets real intense, man. Jabari Banks, man, he plays the role real good. And yeah, Will is just like, listen, you need to bounce. Get up out of here. I don't need you in my life no more. You a bum. Like, he really went in on Lou, man. And look at Lou's face. Man, it's crazy. So Will leaves. And Aunt Viv is just like, yo, if y'all gonna work it out, you need to give him time. He's a boy. He's like, yo, I came here to make it right with him. You know what? It's going to be on him. He's going to have to suffer the consequences. And, they're just like, man, this guy, it just wasn't going to happen. It just went wrong. It went sideways. So Will is upset at everybody now. He's packing up. He's putting clothes in his bag. He's looking at his Bel-Air jersey. And he's like, man, should I take this? He's like, nah. And he leaves it in the drawer. So he's packing up his clothes. Will is ready to get up out of there. He's emotional. He's upset. He's mad. And I get it. I get it. Like, I get it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, your father comes back and he starts talking trash about your mom. Acts like he wants to make it right. So Carlton comes in and he says, yeah, Lou left. And Will is just like, yo, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'm leaving. And Carlton's like, no, stop. What are you leaving for? Stop. Don't leave. Don't leave, right? He's like, nah, I gotta go. I gotta get up out of here, man. Like, this is crazy. Of course, Uncle Phil and the fam, they come, they're like, wait, Will, just sleep on this. Don't make any irrational decisions. And Aunt Viv was like, listen, I'm sure we can work this out as a family, right? And you saw that scene. Will is just like, yo, we are not a family. This is not a family. You lied. You lied all this time. You never visited us in 10 years. And you only visited us one time. Like, what's up with that? If we're a family, why you just visit us? You just dropped me and my mom, once you got rich. And then he's like, Uncle Phil, you cut my wings since the beginning. You told me I'm going to have all opportunities in the world. He's like, yeah, you can still have that. He's like, nah, you cut my wings. You told me that my father left us and everything, and you kept that lie going. You definitely just kept this lie going, and it messed me up. It's all messed up. So Carlton, he rolls over to Will, tries to hug him, right? And yo, Carlton's a good dude, man. We seen a real good side of Carlton. Carlton sees his pocket and he drops a stack, hundreds in his pocket. Like, if he's going to leave, he want to make sure Will is good either way. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, don't leave. You don't have to leave. And yeah, Will just steps back. He's like, listen, man, Carlton, Ashley, Hillary, I love y'all, but I got to do what's best for me. Of course, the girls, they're all upset. They don't want Will to leave. This is just a very tense moment for the family. Will just doesn't know where to turn to because he can't trust anybody. Like everybody lied to him, except for the kids, of course, because they didn't know. So, he's not gonna make them suffer. But Will's just like, yo, I gotta bounce. I gotta get out of here. This is just too much. It's just too intense. And yeah, he leaves out. Yeah, he takes the Lexus and he drives off. You know what I'm saying? Who knows if he's gonna come back? So, of course, they're looking for him. Uncle Phil, he's making phone calls to try to find Will. Nobody can find him. The GPS only works. It does work, but only Jeffrey has that information, has the link to get that GPS on the car. And Aunt Viv was like, yo, that's our car. Did you call Jeffrey? It's like, yeah, he didn't call back. He's not calling us back and everything else like that. So Carlton, he steps up to Uncle Phil. Is like, yo, why isn't Jeffrey returning our phone calls? Of course, here comes the lawyer Banks, boy. Phil being a lawyer, he's like, I have no idea. Hopefully he pops up and shows up and gives us a call back. And he gives him a political answer. And of course, yeah, Carlton's like, yo, there you go, lying again. There you go, trying to cover the truth. So Carlton leaves like, I'm going to go find Will myself. So he leaves out, and we don't know where he's going. But yeah, the girls is just like, what is going on? Why isn't Jeffrey answering the calls? And they're very concerned, right? So, they got to get on the phone. Aunt Viv gets on the phone with Vi. She's like, yeah, Vi, Will, we're looking for him. Like, what you mean you looking for him? What happened? She said, everything went wrong. Lou came. It got intense. It got crazy. And yeah, Will is just upset about everything. Like, he found out everything, and he's real upset. He's like, what? He's gone. You trying to find him? He's like, and she's like, man, if I would have told him the truth. And she, of course, Vi's blaming herself because they kept that lie going. And she had an opportunity to tell him the truth for real when she was out there for his birthday. So, of course, she's blaming herself while Will left and while all of this is going down. Of course, Aunt Viv, she's feeling bad about everything as well. Man, this is real intense, family. So, here comes your boy Carlton. He goes to Lisa's house, knocks on the door. He's like banging on the door. And she's like, what are you doing here? What's going on? And Carlton's like, listen, Will's father came and, was bad, and everything that they said about, his father came true. Like, it was just a really bad meetup, and they got into an argument, and Will just left the house, and he's like, I need you to help me, help me find Will. Will has always been there for me, and that I needed that, and I can't just leave him out there. I need to be there for him. So can you please just help me find him? Like, man, your boy, man, Ollie, he does his thing, man. Like, Ollie did his thing as Carlton, for real. We seeing a good side of Carlton here. And, of course, Lisa feels bad because she was on some, like, yeah, he stood me up. And he, Carlton told her the truth. Like, hey, his father came. It was intense. It was bad. And they need to find Will. So, Carlton gets upset. She gives him a hug. He hugs her back. And, yeah, just don't try to kiss her, bro. But yeah, they hug, and they're gonna do their best to try to find, Will, right? And the chief of police, they can do whatever they can. So Will is somewhere, right? He's crying, he's upset, and he looks like he's on top of the mountain, right? And your boy Jazz shows up, the all-wise Jazz. He's like, what are you doing here, man? He's like, yo, everybody lied to me. And yeah, I just can't be here anymore. And you told me not to let this place change me. And I'm trying to just be myself. And of course, Jazz is on some like, yo, yes, you're right about that. You shouldn't allow it to change you. But, you have your whole family, even Carlton, looking for you right now, man. Like, you need to just jump in the car and go back. And Will's just like, nah, man, I just can't go back. I'm confused. He was just real upset about the whole situation. And Jazz is like, yo, man, I told you to stay true to yourself. But at the same time, you have an opportunity. It's on you as to what you're going to do at this point, man. Your mom's not here. Your auntie's not here. It's up to you what you're going to do at this point to change your life for the better. Man, listen. That is the recap of episode 10. season finale. Listen, fam, man, this was one of the most intense episodes I ever watched. I mean, we talk about emotional TV. Yes, this is definitely emotional TV, family. I mean, it's like that, fam. Like, this was crazy. So let me know your thoughts on this one, the season finale of episode 10 of Bel-Air. Man, it was real intense, fam. So listen, let me know your thoughts. If you're brand new, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Absolutely like, comment below. And that is the season finale. We're definitely looking forward to season 2 as to what Will is going to do and how it's going to go. So you know what it is, fam. It's your man, VACAY-J. And until next time, salute.